In this video, we're going to talk about buyer psychology, one of my favorite subjects. After all, my master's degree is in human behavior. I used to do a hypnosis stage show, and I'm trained in both hypnotherapy and neurolinguistic programming and other psychological technologies for helping people achieve the change in their life that they want. In this lesson, we'll talk about buyer psychology and how you can apply these ideas to get more business. I'm Barbara Lorraine. This is about your business and your website and how to design it for success. It's all about your small business success. And again, I'm Barbara Lorraine. I'm called the Queen of Small Business because I help people start a business, grow a business, or turn a hobby or interest into a business, all for greater income, to share more of your gifts in the marketplace, to make a difference with people, and to make more money while you're at it. So let's get to it. Business is tough. By gaining an understanding of buyer psychology, we can have a clearer path to success. In this lesson, we'll cover Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the pain and pleasure principle, examples of those used in business, and how you can apply these ideas to get more business. Maslow's hierarchy shows the most basic needs at the bottom, and it goes from the bottom to the top. First is physiological, then it's safety needs, then it's love and belonging, then esteem, both self-esteem and being esteemed or held in high regard by others, and then self-actualization. Physiological needs, these are the basic needs for human survival. Air, water, and food are the most basic need, closely followed by the need for shelter and sexual activity. It is, after all, the prime directive of nature. Until these needs are met, a person is distracted from other opportunities, but once met, they focus on attaining additional levels of satisfaction. Let's look at some examples in advertising. Now, in the US, we might think that we don't see many ads for buyers motivated by these physiological needs, but we do see appeals for compassionate donations for those who are at the physiological needs level. Let's look at some examples. The Red Cross for disaster relief, Save the Children, the World Wildlife Fund. Fill in the blank with your favorite needs-based cause. However, in addition to that, there are inexpensive products for budget-conscious buyers, or even survival products for people who have a fear of a zombie apocalypse or whatever. There is a big market of foods and other staple items for people to keep themselves safe at the very most basic level. Safety needs are next. There are many ways that a person can feel unsafe. It could be with a natural disaster, war, violence, abuse, and more. People actually can experience trauma and stress that is debilitating even after the actual unsafe event, as in the case of post-traumatic stress disorder suffered by many veterans, the military veterans. No matter what the cause, without economic or financial safety, a preference for job security develops, along with a desire for savings account, insurance policies, and other methods to achieve feelings of safety, if not actual safety. The types of safety and security needs: personal security, safety from harm, financial security, freedom from economic lack, health and well-being. People want to be strong and have the stamina and vitality for living well. Safety needs against accidents, illness, and the adverse effects of those. Freedom from loss of independence, financial loss, and more are felt at this level. Let's look at some examples in advertising. You know, we see lots of compelling fear-based ads for buyers motivated by these needs. Let's look at some examples. Home security systems to prevent break-ins, loss, and personal harm. Now, when is the best time for a home security system salesperson to approach a certain neighborhood? When there has just been a break-in, right? Because people's safety needs are elevated. They become aware and fearful of what might happen, and so they become prime prospects for home security systems. In the medical and pharmaceutical industry, they don't just treat illness and symptoms, there's also preventative care, which is a huge market. In the medical and pharmaceutical industry, we see fear-based treatments of illness and of symptoms, in addition to a strong wellness industry designed to help people avoid those illnesses in the first place. Hey, I drink lemon in my water every day because I would like to avoid getting cancer. Much of the way that I eat and exercise and live my life is because if a lot of these illnesses are avoidable, I want to do the things that can be done to avoid them. These are very strong motivators linked to safety needs, and also not just to avoid illness, but also to avoid the ravages of aging. Big, big industries. Insurance. Life insurance, health insurance, other insurance, to avoid the big financial calamity that comes when calamity strikes. Financial security. Do you have enough money for retirement? Says one ad, the company of which I can't remember right now. Fear-based safety needs advertising. Payday loans. Do you have enough to get you through the week? And social belonging needs. This cannot be overstated. We see the strength of this need in the habits of people going along to get along, which is very prevalent in our society. Think of it. How many choices do you make? How many opinions do you develop? How many teams do you support based on the people that are around you? Being part of a community or tribe provides feelings of and actual safety. You know, in the past, shunning was an extreme punishment because back in those days, being outcast meant certain death. Even today, though, neglect, shunning, ostracism, and bullying makes the person who's the object of those unsafe, sometimes to the extreme, because they are unsafe. On the other hand, there is safety in numbers, and belonging feels good too. Notice the direct link between the social belonging needs and the safety needs that we just talked about. There is strength in numbers. Let's look at the types of social belonging needs. Friendship. This brings us fun, companionship, feeling understood, and feeling cared for and cared about. Intimacy is fun. We have companionship, feelings of understood and cared about, and the added bonus of sex. In family, home and hearth, sense of responsibility for one another, belonging, building a legacy. Community. From this, we get a shared experience. We feel like we're in it together. There's feelings of safety and strength in numbers. Connections and associations. These can be mutually beneficial and helpful. looking out for each other. There's strength in numbers. Now, think about how many groups and organizations. Rotary International was first begun when captains of industry back then wanted to refer business to each other, wanted to take care of each other. This is still the foundation of many social groups, networking groups, lead generating groups, and yes, even community service groups have a foundation in helping each other in a mutually beneficial way while also helping in the community. We see compelling ads for buyers motivated by belonging. In fact, the appeals to subprime borrowers that led to the Great Recession had their foundations in this need. People who couldn't have otherwise afforded to live the American dream found the idea of home ownership, of being able to provide their families with a real home, that was irresistible, obviously, to many people. Examples of this social belonging is for restaurants. They're seen as the ultimate gathering spot, the place to exercise those needs of social belonging. What about Coca-Cola? Taste the feeling. The feeling is togetherness, is belonging. Mortgages and lenders offer the promise of fitting in, of keeping up with others, of looking good. Notice that there's also an element of self-esteem here, or of fitting in terms of safety, keeping up with others, going along to get along. High status brands with these people fit in with their peers and also works with self-esteem needs. Although it can also be necessary. I spoke once with a gal who does image consulting for business, and she said that a woman really should have a designer handbag. What does a designer handbag have to do with a business person's or a professional's expertise and being able to deliver results for their customers? Nothing whatsoever. But it communicates the level that they belong to in that with that high status brand handbag. Dating services promise love, relationships, and maybe sex. All of these very big businesses. Self-esteem needs. This level includes the need for self-esteem as well as the need to be held in high regard and respected by others. Esteem needs represent the desire to be accepted and valued by others. People often engage in a profession, an activity, or a hobby to gain self-esteem and also respect, recognition, and feelings of significance from their peer groups. People with low self-esteem may have overly strong needs for recognition and even fame. People with good self-esteem, though, also need to feel appreciated and respected. In business, acknowledgement in their industry provides social proof that shows a business person or professional's trustworthiness and authority, creating opportunities and business and professional growth. Types of self-esteem needs. From others, we need and want recognition, acknowledgement, status, prestige, fame. From within ourselves, through our personal experience, we experience strength, competence, mastery, self-confidence, independence, freedom, and more. Self-esteem needs examples. We see compelling ads for buyers motivated by self-esteem needs. Whether buyers are expressing their already achieved status or aspiring to greater levels of success, self-esteem needs are strong. Examples would be high-status brands, as we said before. These identify the buyer's status with everything from fashion, homes, cars, vacations, restaurant, what brand of alcohol, what grocery stores a person shops at. The brands that a person buys to a large degree communicate their social belonging, like we talked about last time, but also their self-esteem needs and how they need to be regarded by others in terms of status and more. Here's a powerful ad. The best things in life are free. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Says it all, doesn't it? It's about the self-esteem and being esteemed by others need. Accessible brands, perfume, coffee, Starbucks at $5 a cup is still affordable. L'Oreal says, because you're worth it. There are ads to raise self-esteem. For example, with the Always brand, they have their commercial challenge called Like a Girl, which challenges limiting thoughts about the female gender and their capabilities and strength. We can't really talk about buyer psychology without talking about Edward Bernays. He's known as the father of propaganda. Could also be said he's the father of marketing, advertising, and public relations. The American Tobacco Company hired Bernays to overcome the taboo of women smoking cigarettes so they could double their sales. See, back in those days, it was taboo for women to smoke cigarettes. Well, Bernays saw that as an opportunity for the tobacco companies to get more business, get rid of that taboo, and invite 50% more buyers. That successful campaign tapped into the human needs and values of the day. You can watch a video about Bernays and his tobacco sales campaign. You can go to my website to see it, and it really is must see for anyone interested in buyer psychology, which should be then every business person, every professional really should see that video. How did Bernays' propaganda work on women smoking? Well, what do you think? With the taboo against women smoking seriously challenged, women felt, in the, not too much of a spoiler alert, I'll tell you, when you watch that video, you'll see about Bernays, you'll see that his brilliant idea was that in a parade, he had hired debutantes, and this was back in the days of suffragettes and prohibition. And so the feelings about what women did were very strong, and feelings about women's rights and freedoms ran very strong. Well, he had these beautiful women wearing their long skirts. At a certain point near the end of the parade, they would stop, raise their skirts above their knees, and take a cigarette out of their garter and putting it into their mouth and lighting it up. They would see these, we are raising torches of freedom. Now, what does that have to do with a cigarette? Well, for the tobacco industry, it had a whole lot to do with it, didn't it? Notice how these ideas of propaganda, marketing, advertising, public relations can all be manipulated for very bad ends. Let me ask you though, how can you use these ideas to positively influence your prospects? First, You have to know what drives your market. What are their needs? Reflect back on the list of needs as expressed by Maslow in the hierarchy. What makes your prospects up in the middle of the night? What gets them going and buying? We'll talk more about your market in the Building Your Customer Persona module. Now let's look at self-actualization needs. This level of needs refers to what a person's full potential is and their need to realize their potential. As Maslow said, what a man can be, he must be. Today he would say, what a person can be, he must be. Some examples of this self-actualization need could be to become the best musician who ever lived, to be the best at their sport, or becoming the best possible parent. The ultimate achievement is determined by the individual. A person at this level may also be motivated to make a difference for others or for the planet. Examples of this would be Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Manoj Bhargava. Now, you might not have heard of Manoj. He is donating, as the founder of 5 Hour Energy, he is donating 90% of earnings to help billions on the planet who need water, electricity, and medical care. You can see the video at barbaralorraine.com/vlog. It's really quite impressive. I encourage you to watch that video. It's really quite impressive of what someone can do when they have satisfied the other needs and get to that point where they're moved by self-actualization. Let's look at some more examples. You know, we don't see a whole lot of ads motivated by self-actualization needs. We do, however, see ads that tap into this need coupled with other needs. Doves and Always are more brand building than designed directly to sell products. Examples would be All That You Can Be in the Army. Just Do It by Nike inspires people to act on their potential for greatness. We may want to buy Apple or Tesla to be associating ourselves with their value-driven brands. In the case of Apple, to be associated with the most innovative, with the best technologies. Sure, it's more expensive, but people still line up to buy their new iPhone, don't they? Or to get the Tesla, to associate themselves with the finest in electric cars and all of the values that are behind that brand. Dove ads invite the public to consider real beauty sketches and inspires women to step up to greater self-esteem and self-image, along with seeing their potential for self-actualization. Okay, now that we've talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is very comprehensive and, as you can see, applies to many situations, the pleasure-pain principle is another classic, tried and true way of looking at what motivates people, originated by Sigmund Freud. The thoughts of pleasure and pain may occur from our choices, and this is powerful motivators. Research shows that we move more strongly away from pain than what we do toward pleasure. We might like to think that we're always reaching for the best. But if you think again about what kinds of things you'll buy quickly, to avoid a calamity, to get out of a calamity, to get out of pain, or to avoid pain, those really are the most strongly felt motivations. To make more sales, then, show that buying your product or services equal pleasure. But more than that, show that not buying your product equals pain. Let's look at some examples of that. Best Buy's Black Friday ad said, "You will regret missing this, blah, blah, blah," whatever their offer was for the day. That message is clear, isn't it? If we want a new piece of electronics or television or whatever, we don't want to pay more than what we can buy it for on Black Friday. You will regret missing this. That's a hugely motivating statement. Mercedes, it makes everything more intelligent. We call it being awesome. The implication is, without a Mercedes, you're not awesome. So notice here, there's not such a direct message, but a strong message just the same. For Lexus, it's embrace the power that fuels your confidence. Reward yourself with the luxury you deserve. What you see in it is already in you. The power that fuels your confidence. Well, what about the experiences and the accomplishments that fuel your confidence? What about that? Oh, well, Lexus is supposed to be an expression of that. Reward yourself with the luxury you deserve. The implication being the opposite of that. Do you ignore the luxury that you deserve? What do you feel you deserve? Something less than a Lexus? Whoa! What you see in it, the Lexus, is already in you. And what might that be? The status symbol, the feelings of self-esteem, the fitting in with your peer group, the fitting in with what you aspire to. The message is, if you don't get a Lexus, you miss out. In a sales presentation, the pain-pleasure principle can be used this way. Imagine it's a year down the road. Notice the improvements if you say yes to buying this product. But what is the negative you see if you do not take action now? Now, that's really quite something of a statement to make if you're looking at personal development. But about buying a product, that's very strong use of the pleasure-pain principle. Check out these ads and documentaries as examples of avoiding pain and by taking action. I've added the YouTube links here, but you can see all of these ads and video clips at my website at barbaralorraine.com/vlog. Smoking cessation, here's a video about that. Don't cross railway tracks. Maybe you've seen this video before. It was highly effective. Dumb Ways to Die. About wise spending from David Ramsey. Healthy eating. You can watch the Food Inc. documentary and notice which are they talking about more, the pleasure of healthy eating or how to avoid the pain that can come from eating badly. And regarding environmental change, the movie Before the Flood, all of these designed to create pain and inspire people to change their behaviors. Here are more examples from Weight Watchers. The door on the left is how you enter the program. The door on the right, the skinny one, is how skinny you've gotten by using their program. From careerbuilders.com, thinking about changing your career, don't jump. A picture of the dog just filled with fleas. Get them off of your dog. Pain-based advertising works. In this lesson, we talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the pleasure and pain principle, and we considered examples. Now, how can you apply these ideas? Where do you put yourself? How do you see yourself operating from Maslow's hierarchy of needs? How do you see your own buyer decisions influenced because of the needs that you're feeling that we talked about in terms of Maslow's hierarchy? Where do you see yourself as a buyer being influenced by the pleasure-pain principle? And how can you apply these ideas to get more business? After all, if you're the very best at what you offer, isn't it a great idea to use all of the tools that you can put in your tool bag in order to encourage people to say yes to what you offer, to the products and services that you provide, to help them overcome their problems, to help them achieve greater levels of the pleasure that they want? Using buyer psychology is very strong for helping you get there. This is one in a series of videos about your website, about your marketing. We have a whole list of videos, programs, and tutorials that we offer. All of them begin with the end in mind. You want to encourage people to say yes to your call to actions, to your offers. You want to be providing more of your products and services because you are the best. You want to make a difference with people, and you want to make more money. And using the ideas that I'm sharing with you here are all designed to do exactly that. I'm Barbara Lorraine. Subscribe to my YouTube video channel. Visit and sign up at my website. Connect with me on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. And until next time, this is Barbara Lorraine, wishing you the best success in your business and happiness in your life.